Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. My guest today will be Matt Rodgers from SBS to bring us a little bit of an introduction about EDI for those of you that are interested in adding that functionality to your business potentially. So now I want to ask Matt if he would take the controls and share with us today about EDI. Matt, welcome to Wednesday Web Chat one more time.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. Happy to be here today. Well, here today to talk about EDI and our partnership, as well specifically with Vision 33 and how we deliver EDI. So kind of the key themes we'll be hitting on is the approach that we take, which is a full service outsourced solution and a network approach to EDI, a trading partner network. So we'll get going here and get into the content, but just a little bit about myself first, I suppose. I'm Matt Rodgers. I've been with SPS Commerce now 3.5 years. I manage our SAP partnerships and spend a lot of time with Business One and our Business One customers. SPS Commerce has been around for 20 years. I've spent that time building out a reliable, trusted EDI network with 90,000 connections. We're 100% cloud-based with 1,700 employees across the globe, or with about, I'd say 13 global offices where we run our support and development functions in many cases. 12 years listed on the NASDAQ now, over 4 billion market cap and 83 consecutive quarters of top line growth, which is a stat that we're very proud of here at SPS. So all told, again, a very mature company with a great track record providing EDI services. The partnership that we have with Vision 33 is also very strong, where we have to date over 140 mutual customers that are running an integrated solution to SAP Business One with over 10 years of partnership. So it's a great partnership that we've had and developed, and it's a great combined solution that we often go to market with. So with that, I'll get into the details of EDI and lay out the landscape a little bit and get into how SPS specifically approaches it. But for those who may be new to EDI, it's important to understand, it can be complicated. The nature of EDI is one that, as if you're a supplier, you're often on the receiving end of requirements from each retailer that you're working with. And while EDI was meant to be a standard by which most documents like an 850 purchase order or an 810 invoice are exchanged, over time it quickly became non-standard because each retailer has a different supply chain from the next, and the requirements that they have tend to be different. So the nature of EDI, it tends to be very complex that way, where you as a supplier are sort of on the hook. If you want to do business with a major retailer, you're going to have to comply with how you want them or how they want you to do EDI. So what goes into that, we call the 7 components to keep in mind are the technology, and that's the basic, maybe a mapping or tool that you might have to have. You have to have people who understand and know the trading partner that you're working with, and also the differences between those partners, but like how they fulfill, whether it's drop ship, direct to store, via a distribution center or what have you. You have to have experts who know how to design and configure the system that you're going to be running and how to set things up. Each partner tends to have a very specific communication protocol that they require, essentially referring to how data is transmitted. Some do it over an FTP connection, some require an AS2, some require a VAN, and so on and so forth. Each partner is going to have very specific testing and launch requirements that you have to adhere to as well. And then beyond that, you're going to typically need ongoing support to be able just to keep the thing up and running. And then ideally you have some proactive and monitoring and analysis capabilities to essentially allow you to optimize what you're doing. So these really are what we consider the 7 components. It's often underestimated, and in terms of folks don't typically fully appreciate everything that goes into EDI. So what happens often is that when they get into a place where they need to do EDI, or maybe they're looking at different providers, they already have EDI, but they're or maybe want to move to something that's more cloud focused or future focused. A lot of solutions out there really sometimes only provide a couple of these. So we make a distinction between a full service solution, which we are, and you could be doing something in-house where you're taking on all 7 of these, or you could be working or talking to potentially a managed service provider, which may only provide, say, the technology package. They might provide the hosting. They might provide some resources to help you set it up at the beginning, but they may not provide all of the other things that you need to have to be running EDI successfully. And what happens, we often see with that, is it can lead to serious business issues, because if you underestimate what is required for EDI, then you tend to get in a position where then you have to either pay more to the managed service provider if they're willing to do it to gap in to the work effort that you have, or you have to provide your own resources to handle that. A lot of folks aren't necessarily prepared for that. So what happens is you've got unplanned complexity. You may not have the support you want. You may not have the people internally that you need. And then typically what happens is there could be some errors that stock up and they're sitting on the plate of IT. They can't get into it and fix it quick enough, which ultimately could lead to chargebacks and fees. You could have issues adding new customers, and your IT budget potentially spiral on you. So those are common things that we often see. So keep that in mind, because I'll kind of return to some of the benefits of working with SPS, which are really going to take care of all 7 of those components for our customers, and that's what we focus on. So with the full service solution that we have, and we bundle all of this in a fixed and known pricing model, where there's an upfront cost and then there's a subscription cost, but it encapsulates everything that you see here and all of those 7 components. So it includes the market leading technology, table stakes, obviously, with everything you need to run and connect to those partners. Then it includes all of the experts. We have a staff of about 600 customer success folks. Their job is to understand the trading partner requirements, what the differences are, what to do if the retailer makes a change, how to initiate the testing process, how to reach someone like Walmart if you have an invoice that is rejected because it was 3 cents off or something like that. And then all the 24/7, 365 support that you would expect from a top tier provider. So again, everything that we have there is wrapped up into the service that we provide. And the power of what SPS does ultimately comes down to the network that we have. So SPS, in the 20 years that we've been around, has developed over 80,000 specific mapped connections to trading partners that can be leveraged for any new customer that comes aboard. 400 different systems that we work with today, 3,000 buying organizations that we map to. So any major retailer, we likely already have a very specific set of maps that are pre-built. 1,000 3PLs. So I think in the Business One world, I often see folks working with a 3PL or even multiple 3PLs. So there's some comfort there knowing that we have 1,000 in network, and often cases we're actually able to, as you're expanding your business, facilitate introductions to 3PLs for our customers based on specific requirements that you may have for wanting to scale your business. And then worth noting as well, just because we are of size, we do have the ability to invest in all the important things around security, which over the years obviously has become more and more important. This is a diagram of what we would call a legacy point-to-point solution. And this is the way EDI is done in many cases, still was originally done, and the way many of our competitors still approach it, which is to say, I'm going to connect, I'm going to download the specifications for a retailer, and I'm going to connect directly to them in a point-to-point style, and I'm going to map it all, and I'm going to orchestrate it into SAP Business One. So you've got, take the 850, which is the purchase order. You're going to have, say, you got 20 partners. You're going to have 20 different purchase order maps that all need to be orchestrated into B1, and that includes all the specific FTP, VAN, AS2 communications protocols, the people that you need to have to manage those maps, change those maps if the retailer makes a change, and so on and so forth. So it can become very, very messy in many cases to have to manage, which is why if you contrast that with the SPS approach, what we realized is that having a single retailer map for every one of our customers in a network format is going to be a major differentiator for us, and has in many respects kind of propelled us to a leadership position in the industry, which is that instead of having an 850 map for every customer that you have, you're going to have one single PO that is integrated into SAP Business One. So the way that works is we bring in all the 850s, those purchase orders from the trading partners. We normalize and standardize all of that data and apply all the business rules required, and we take care of all of those AS2 VAN requirements or whatever the case may be. And then we work with our trusted partner in Vision 33. They have underlying integration technology that feeds the data into SAP Business One, and they also have a user interface that is very much plug and play that we're able to install, so that you're able to receive purchase orders and send out outbound documents directly from the system. But there's a lot of power in the network in terms of when somebody like Target, for example, makes a change to their map, we make it one time for our entire customer base, which includes maybe 2,000 to 3,000 customers or partners there, instead of somebody else having to go and make a map change 2,000 times. You never are quite sure when your map might get done, and there's all kinds of issues potentially that could crop up there. So all told, what that means really is the network effect that we have, and you see this a lot with SaaS-based add-ons to ERP, is that instead of connecting out and managing connections directly between Business One and those partners specifically, really the job is just to connect to SPS that one time, and then we manage all of those upstream connections to those partners and all of the things that go with that. So ultimately, what does that mean for you? And I'll return back to this slide here. Again, just to reiterate, SPS provides as a subscription service everything that you do need in order to run EDI. So it's going to include all of the technology, all of the folks on staff here to support and manage those partners and understand the order fulfillment models that they have. We lead the process and implementation, so that's one benefit, where once we start to get into a project, we're going to be able to take the lead in terms of designing those universal maps that we have, making recommendations based on the previous customers that we've had, or current customers that we've worked with previously, I should say. Lead the process in terms of connecting to those partners via the methods that they require, initiate the testing process with those retailers, all the support that you need via chat, email, and phone, and then also a customer success department that is more and more proactive in terms of making recommendations, helping you optimize what you're doing, and ensuring that you'll have success going forward. And what that means ultimately from a business standpoint, what we find if we're successful is that this is going to lead to a substantial business impact in terms of fewer errors to deal with, more realistic expectations of what the IT responsibilities are going to be within the organization, so there aren't any surprises there. A fixed and known cost model, so you know what you're paying for, no surprises. SPS does not do change orders or statements of work. Everything is rolled into a subscription-based model, which ultimately enables you to scale informatively. When you want to add a partner, for example, you've got a new customer in Target, you make a phone call to your account executive and we take it from there. There's nothing else you really have to do beyond maybe testing a little bit with us. But again, alerts and a lot of great things that come with platform, and hopefully reduced fees and limiting the chargebacks that you might get from a retailer potentially. So with that, I would say this is our go-to-market, and there's more to the solution for anyone who would like to see specifically some of the tools that we have an online option where you can go in, and which is typically great for folks that are new to EDI and folks that may have a more limited scope with regard to their trading partners. And then we also have a solution that's available for demo that shows what the integration between the SPS network and Business One looks like. And again, that's a Vision partner supported tool. So with that, I would just say thank you to everyone who was able to attend, and thank you again, Carl. And feel free to, certainly, if you want to learn more and see a demonstration, reach out to your Vision 33 account executive to schedule something, and we can take a deeper dive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. That was great. And I think right to point, just exactly what folks need to see to get a good intro into EDI. And just to reiterate what Matt said, if you are interested in learning more, we encourage you to reach out to your regional CRM, your customer relationship manager, and they will help to schedule the demo and start getting you more information about EDI so that you can really evaluate, what's the right entry point for you and your business specific to your goals. As Matt mentioned, it may be a very simple entry point to be able to use the web-based tool, or a full integration into SAP Business One. It really depends on how many trading partners, how many orders are going to get processed, and what the requirements are. But we can certainly help you learn all about that. Matt, one question, just someone was asking me, how long, if you're doing it, a real true integration with the SAP Business One, what kind of a time frame do people need to think of in terms of how long is it going to take me to accomplish this with the first trading partner?
Yeah, sure. Well, two ways. If there's the web-based option, typically if there's a partner that we have in network and it's a major retailer, it could be as little as a week, and which is great for anybody, because we know how scary it might be for someone who's brand new to EDI and they get a call from Target. Target wants to buy their stuff and they've never heard of EDI before. So that's what that solution is great for, is the ability for us to get folks up and running pretty quickly. Now, if we're automating with the system with the Vision 33 adapter, that's going to require some more mapping exercises. So we go through I'd say 8-week design, typically 8 to 10-week design and configuration period, where we look at your trading partners, generate the maps that we need. And these are the maps coming from SPS Commerce to the B1 environment. And ultimately, then we budget typically 1 to 2 weeks per partner, just to be conservative. And the reason why we're a little bit ambiguous about that is there's some dependencies typically with those trading partners that you're connecting to, and a little bit depends on the resource availability that they have. But all told, I'd say about 8 to 10 weeks and about 1 to 2 weeks per partner is a typical timeline.
Makes good sense. I was impressed, by the way, by the fact that you pointed out in the very beginning that EDI really intended to sort of create these standards around which it would be easy to implement, and everything would be done the same. But the trading partners didn't really allow that to happen. So they've all sort of got their own specific requirements, and they keep changing them from time to time. So because my experience in the early days was folks would talk about EDI standards, and then you would wonder, well, if it's standard, why is it so difficult?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And I think that's why EDI is so perplexing, because the first thing you wonder is, why is this so hard? And that really is what it comes down to, is that these folks all have different supply chains, and they all have different accounting practices, and they all have different processes. So it is probably impossible for it to be completely standard. And that's why we found that normalizing and standardizing all of those differences and making it simple for folks has really been a pretty big value add, because it really just insulates them from that complexity in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And even one trading partner can truly totally change a business. I've told the story a zillion times before, but my first time working with an EDI solution was actually SPS. And we had a customer that developed and was starting to sell home weather stations, right, which are really common today. This tells you how old I am, but they were not really common, 15 years ago. And they wanted to do business with a company named J.C. Penney. And J.C. Penney, had thousands of stores at the time, and was interested in putting this product in all of their stores. So they came to us to deploy EDI, which we did, and it took quite a while. I think it took us about 3 months just to get it kind of up and running. And then on the day they got their first order from J.C. Penney, they'd been selling about maybe 2,500 units a year, right, at this point, because they were kind of a new young company. Well, their first order with J.C. Penney was for 20,000 units, all done by EDI.
Yeah.
So it can turn you upside down really quickly when you start doing business with these big box stores. And but basically, it put them in a place where they had never imagined being from a revenue perspective ever before. It was a boom to their business.
Yeah, I would categorize that as a good problem to have for sure. But no, and that's the thing. I think folks who maybe have those dreams to be able to scale their business and grow in that nature. I mean, you'll find you simply have to have EDI capability, but it doesn't mean you have to make it a core competency, right? So
yes,
you can find partners to help you grow so that you can continue to focus on the strategic elements of your business, like manufacturing and marketing and sales, for example, and not have to invest precious resources on IT things that aren't typically strategic to your business.
Yeah, and I should qualify that by saying the solutions that we were able to implement 15 years ago with EDI were not, cloud driven. And so what we deploy today is far easier and less technical and, much more user friendly and takes not even half as long, all right, to deploy. So the costs have come down over the years, if anything, to be a part of EDI. Well, Matt, thank you very much for giving us some time today. And I do encourage any of you that are interested in learning more to reach out to us at Vision 33, your regional CRM, or anyone really, and we'll be glad to take you further. Thank you all, and we'll see you again on the next episode of Wednesday Web Chat.